Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another Manchester United podcast. As you can see, via the title, Ed Woodward is pushing the Super League. That is what we are going to be talking about tonight. You've seen a lot of claims regarding Ed Woodward, basically showing him for who he is. That lovely individual, as we all love him. But listen, we're going to be delving deep into that. As always, make sure you get your comments and drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We've got a brilliant podcast for you and a brilliant panel to discuss the matters. First and foremost, we've got the homie Yusuf in the building. How are you doing, bro?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. We got the homie from 3 in midfield, Iniesta. Kojo, what you saying, bro?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. Always a pleasure to have you on. We got the homie from Views. Let's get it. We got the homie. Listen, this guy's not my guru. The guy I go to for wisdom. People don't know this, but always showing love. Sam's in the building. What you saying, brother? How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Oh my gosh, I just realized I haven't even got my mic. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh my! I usually have a mic set up, and I just realized I haven't got it.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll forgive you. And listen, we've got the lovely. Listen, I just got to throw this out here. I'm a huge fan of your channel. Alice is like myself, very passionate fan. Says it how it is. Absolute pleasure to have you on, Alice. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. It's always fun being here, and it's just been such a mad week for football.
Oh my God, you can say that again.
Yep.
I think that's the most understatement. There's been a lot. We normally on the Monday we talk about the weekend results. We didn't even mention Jose getting sacked, which is crazy to us because that would be the first thing that we would have spoken about. But listen, last but not least, our American representative, not affiliated with any of the chairman, the Yankee Solo. We got Sean in the building. How are you, bro?
Bro, only the often imitated, never duplicated Usmaan can bring me off of my current sabbatical. Yes, I'm here to give you those real opinions that you may not like, you may like, but it's the Yankee.
Oh my God! Listen, Sean, like I was saying before, Sean's gonna give us a perspective of the board. Obviously, he doesn't agree with what they're doing, but at least he has a bit of understanding because this is kind of how it works in America for a lot of the sports, from what I'm aware of. But listen, we're gonna get straight into it. I'm not gonna start with the Luke Shaw thing because I'm sure most of you probably seen it. Well, I say most of you. It just happened about the last 10 minutes. He put something on social media, basically giving his thoughts. Let's start with. Should we start with Maguire? Let's just get the Maguire thing out because it's actually not a big thing. So we'll start with Maguire first and foremost, right, Yusuf? So just to set the scene, Man United playing Burnley at halftime. All of a sudden they're questioning Ollie about something he's never heard of practically. This is the first time he's heard of it when they asked him, which is, for me, is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that Ollie's found out at the same time as us. A lot of the players, again, finding out at the same time as us. It was shocking timing for us because we were playing the game at the time. Yusuf, what are your thoughts on, first and foremost, we'll leave the board because I've got a feeling we've got a lot to say about them. In terms of the way the managers dealt with the situation and the players, do you feel like they could have done anything differently? Or do you think they still need to bide their time? What are your thoughts on that matter?
Can everybody hear me fine?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, I guess the players are in a sort of an awkward position, I guess. The thing is, though, none of us know how much information they actually know, and we'll probably never know. Have they been told before? I find it hard to believe that no one has known nothing. Surely somebody must have known something, even in the background. Maybe not the players, but I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in particular. I'm sure. I don't know how often he meets with Ed Woodward. I'm pretty sure he doesn't meet with the Glazers. But certainly with Ed Woodward, he must have mentioned to him at some point about a potential Super League and just to maybe.
Yeah, Yusuf, we've just got some breaking news actually. As we said that Manchester City have pulled out as of Chelsea, confirmed, I think.
Okay.
Man City as well.
Man City and Chelsea, by the looks of it, or by the sounds of it. Again, this is just people pointing think it's Fabrizio Romano's tweets in the chat. So again, I might be wrong here. Obviously, I'm free to check it, Gojo. But it does look like Man City and Chelsea have pulled out. So bearing that in mind, you know, what are your thoughts from our perspective? Because it's quite clear that Man United are not going to pull out. They have been pushing. They have been one of the driving forces alongside Liverpool and the Arsenals. What are your thoughts on that news as well?
Well, now that Man City have pulled out, I'm more confident that we can actually win it. But no, I'm only joking. No, yeah, I think hopefully we'll follow suit. But obviously, the disappointing thing is that Ed Woodward is sort of the brains behind all of this, and if he's already sort of pushed it this far, is he really going to yield now just because, you know, Chelsea have pulled out of Man City? I mean, I hope he does, but does someone like Ed Woodward have a conscience? Does he really care about anybody other than himself? Or so? I mean, yeah.
That's a good question. Does he have a conscience? Yusuf, just quickly, there's a bit of static coming from your mic.
Oh, sorry.
I'm assuming everyone else can hear it as well. Everyone's been polite. But yeah, if you can, I don't know if you've got headphones in or not. So
I've got headphones in, yeah, but
oh, muted. Oh, no, it's not his mic. Is this someone else's mic? Is it Kojo's? Oh, Kojo's muted, right? I don't know. Is everyone muted? I don't know. Right, okay. I don't know whose mic it is. Is it mine? I don't know. Right, let me just mute myself with them, see if it. Okay, so let's see if it's not sense. Oh, it's Alice. What the hell? Alice is your mic. It's Alice's mic. Right, okay, sorry, you said I'll just put you off. I thought it was you. Apologies. Right, okay, right, I'll mute Alice for the time being. Right, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so obviously, as he was saying, yeah, so does he have a conscience? That is the question. Kojo, look, before we go into Man United, we got to react to this news. I just want to quickly throw this in as, you know, I've got to play devil's advocate here. Do you think there's a case that, yeah, of course, it's quite clear that they bottled it, but do you think they bottled it because there was a threat that they'll get kicked out of Champions League? So you got to bear in mind. Them two teams were threatened to get kicked out of the Champions League come next week, and they're both in the semi-final. So, what are your thoughts on that as well?
I think it comes down to a lot of things. Is it me?
Yeah,
I think it's okay now, right?
I don't know what's going on at the moment. Everyone's like, seems like an echo on your mic now as well.
Echo as well, yeah.
Talk, Kojo.
Hello.
Yes, I think that's all right.
Okay.
It was fine. What's up? Go on.
I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I think it comes down to a lot of things. I think all these threats in terms of Premier League expulsion, in terms of players not being able to go to the Euros or the World Cup, all of that, and maybe they're just revising the fact that fans are really like, this is not some small angle. Yo, what is going on?
I really don't know. This is the first time. Right, I'm going to assume it. Let's just mute Sams for a second. Cause you keep talking.
Okay, so I think it's just a load of things. And I think Chelsea don't need it though. In my opinion, I don't think Chelsea need this Super League. If I'm being honest, so I feel like after all the uproar and everything considered, I think they've just come to the conclusion that this is just not something they need to be a part of. And the same goes for City. So, look, at the end of the day, this is good. This is good because it's a beginning. And yeah, exactly. It's American owners that are more, in my opinion, more obsessed with these things. I think in terms of Spain, Real Madrid financially are in a horrible position. So they're trying to get some sort of out, especially because they were being investigated not too long ago as well over their finances. In Italy, Juventus, after buying Ronaldo, have been ruined financially. AC Milan and Inter Milan have struggled for years. So I think with Chelsea and City, they're in a position where they don't need to worry about their finances too tough. They don't need this. And I think it's the right move. I genuinely think it's the right move. There's no point pissing off your players. There's no point pissing off your fans. And dealing with all these threats that I actually, for the first time, even though it annoys me that the energy is not the same towards other pressing issues, I think we all know what I'm talking about.
We're going to get onto that, don't worry.
Yeah. Regardless, these threats are, I think they're real. I feel like they're actually real. And these players are now looking and saying, we don't want that. And it's quite clear that Tuchel knew nothing about it either. Same thing as Klopp and so on. So if Ole knew about it, he'd be the one out of the other six. So I think it's good. It's a start to big teams coming out, may the dominoes continue to fall.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, I'm seeing a lot of people put comments on the WhatsApp group as well, saying that the two clubs, in their perspective, they don't really need the money. So there might be a case that the other clubs that are still, like the Premier League clubs in particular, Man United are in an astronomical debt. Like, it's outrageous what the debt, as we all know. Just want to quickly get this comment up from Jerry and then obviously swing it to you. I know we're put on screen already. But he's obviously talking about the American owners in specific that will be pissed. So, Sean, that kind of leads me on nicely to yourself, really. So, obviously, you know more about the American sports than we do. In terms of how it is perceived in America, this kind of sort of franchise, so to speak, the manner in which it is sort of conducted. Why do you think that's going to be an issue in the English league, or do you think it's something that could work in the English league? Can't really speak now. Down the road. That's what I'm trying to get out there. Down the road. What do you reckon, Sean?
Yeah. Let me just say this first and foremost, because I know how everyone feels about this, and I feel the same way. I think I don't like the idea of a super league at all. But to play devil's advocate and to help out a little bit here, to make the conversation a little more interesting and make some people maybe a little mad or at least think a little different, let me defend a little bit of what they're trying to do from this perspective, because I don't like it. Don't get it wrong. I don't like it. However, when I hear managers and players saying this the first time they've heard of it, let me tell you that's bull crap. This is not the first time they've heard of it. This isn't the first time I've heard of it. They were talking about this Super League stuff a little while back. Don't come at me like, oh, we don't know what's going on here. No, y'all know. And if you think for a second that all of those players wouldn't want to be in a Super League, right? Outside of fan opinion, if you think they wouldn't want in it, let me explain to you why. The late, great Giorgio Canaglia, who is one of the greatest Italian players of all time, once said this: it's about the money, morons. And here's the thing. Years ago, when the Prem actually formed the way it formed the way it did over money. Now, what we have is a situation, like we always have, whether it's in politics or sports, where the wealthy are fighting against the wealthy. Right here, we have serious millionaires fighting with serious billionaires. That's what's going on here. And honestly, people like us, fan opinion, all that really doesn't matter. So in America, we understand that teams are run as a business by business people. We don't have the same heritage. The only game that's different is baseball, because it was considered part of our national fabric. So there's actually legal laws in Congress that's been passed about baseball. And funny enough, people can't half stand it anymore. But that's a topic for another day. Football is passing it big time. But here's the thing. So you mean to tell me if you're a player right now and think of David De Gea, right? Am I correct in assuming from what I've heard, he's on the highest contract in the Premier League, or one of, right? Pretty close. He's on what, 350 bags? Something like that, right? 350? Okay. In the NBA, the highest paid earner this season is on 960 some bags a week, right? So where there's a lot more money, because here's the thing. We all complain about UEFA. UEFA's corrupt. It's dirty. By the way, the hypocrites out there saying, oh, PSG didn't join. Why not? Because they're owned by Qataris.
Yeah, exactly. They're on FIFA World Cup.
Man. The people don't want to pay attention to this stuff. People saying, oh, look, this team's taking a stand. This team's taking a stand. Most teams are taking a stand because they wasn't invited into the pot. Because this is what it is. More money staying in the hands of the owners. And my thing is when the Premier League sold its soul, bro, when they brought in all these billionaire businessmen owners. A businessman looks at things like, I'm here to make money. So what do you expect the Glazers to do? They're trying to protect themselves, their investment, and invest more money into themselves instead of spreading it all around to all these clubs they think it doesn't matter. And so in the NFL, for example, there's different rules. In the NBA, there's different rules. And there is certain types of salary caps and profit sharing and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's about the money. And the truth is, bro, when I heard their statement about legacy fans and all this stuff, it's stupid. They don't care about match-going fans like that. Now, they can get up and say that for publicity because they don't want people in the streets. But the fact is, what they care about is the big money that comes from TV deals. And let's face it, we have, how many, there's a lot more fans like me that bleed this, that, now I'm different because I actually have flown across the pond and I go to games, but a lot of people can't afford that. It costs me 2 G's every time I go to a match. So they care about this global fan, and it's all about the money. So ultimately, and I hate when we get this moral high ground as if one, we're surprised by it, or two,
we're gonna
we wouldn't want $1 million a week versus 200. So I don't even believe players.
Sean, I'm gonna just come in because obviously Kojo and Sam's know why I'm interrupting. I'm assuming they're around as well. Right, okay, so I'll allow the homie to do the honors. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid have pulled out as well, so that means it's basically done, isn't it?
Yes.
So that means 4 teams have pulled out just today. I believe, who else was another Premier League team might have pulled out as well, actually. I think Liverpool might be in the procedure of pulling out as well, actually. It seems like it's just Man United, Spurs, and Arsenal. And someone's put on the WhatsApp group, Arsenal got absolutely no business being there. So, Alice, I'm going to come to you. So it's quite clear that, it's falling apart, which is what we want. We're live on air as well, which is great news for us. But I want to still talk about our board and how this shows our board, because let's be real, we're the main culprits in it. We've been called out. Ed Woodward has been called out directly as one of the main culprits. Is everybody else seeing Man United for who they really are, which is snakes, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, when I saw that, as soon as it was announced, Joel Glazer was one of the first people to talk about it. I was like, this guy didn't know what the offside rule was. This guy's given an interview in about 15 years. So he's given 1 or 2. I thought, yeah, of course, Joel Glazer and Ed Woodward are right behind this. We know that Man United's owners are probably the greediest you can get in football. I think Chelsea and City fans were shocked because they kind of liked their owners. But I think Man United fans weren't even surprised. When I found out that the Glazers were the ringleaders, of course they fucking are. Literally, I was not even the tiniest bit shocked. And the thing is, we'll be the last club to leave. We will be the last club to leave. City, Chelsea, Atletico, Barcelona, they've all left. United will be the last club to leave because they care so much about their money. That they started this, and the thing is, it's sad. They don't care about the fans. I think everyone's a bit selfish. Everyone's a business owner, but Roman Abramovich listened to the fans at the end of the day. So did Sheikh Mansour. They actually buy the players the fans want. We know the Glazers don't care about the fans, and the fact that Woodward's behind us, he's completely snaked them out. He snaked out UEFA. And the fact that the Glazers is behind it is no surprise to me. And it's so sad how bad our owners are. These American owners that don't give a crap about anything. A disgrace to the club. I don't even know how they were allowed to take over the club. All they've done is put us in debt. And the fact that they are our owners, I think, is a joke. And we will be the last club to pull out. We're the type of people, we'll do the European Super League with 4 clubs so we can get our paycheck. That's what the Glazers are like. Because they see this. This is what they see. This is what I think. The Glazers see, if we're always in the Super League, we don't need to worry about top 4. We will barely need to invest in the squad, they're probably thinking. We're always going to be in Europe. Where are we finished? The Glazers are loving it because they have no reason to invest if we're always in Europe. They'll always get their money. And also, I read somewhere that 55% of the profits or something has to go to the owners or something, or the creators or something. And because they've created it, no one's going to profit more off this than Joel bloody Glazer. And I think it's a disgrace. And I hope it's over. They can't do it without Chelsea, City, Barca, Atletico.
Well, Bayern aren't in it already. They're not going to come in now. Dortmund have said no.
No one cares.
PSG have already said no. Just to add to that, Alice, it does actually now mean that Liverpool drop points against Leeds, so you can have that, you pricks. It does mean something now. Because you're not going to the Super League. You're not getting Champions League football, you score. I can finally say you're pieces of shit. But listen, I can't. You said something there which resonated with me. You said that we're going to be the last team to drop out. And for me personally, I'm praying that is the case. And then you guys are probably thinking, what? The reason I'm praying is because I want the footballing world to see what us Man United fans see, which is these guys are scum and they need to get out of the club. For the first time in Gary's life, on live air, national TV, he said we need to kick them out of the club. He's never said that before. It's taken him to extreme measures for him to finally say that. But I don't want him to lose that energy, and I hope that this finally shed light on our board. And I want to throw Arsenal in there as well, actually, because Kroenke is an absolute embarrassment as well as an owner, because what he's done to Arsenal Football Club is a disgrace. They're even worse than us. They're in 10th. So the fall of them is astronomical. For us, we know as United fans, you know, we need investment in the summer to try and challenge, because at the moment we're basically in limbo. We're not really good enough to win the league. We're not necessarily the worst team to be falling out of the Champions League. We're probably there and thereabouts. So the point I want to make, Sems, is this a blessing in disguise? Because the footballing world are seeing our board now. They've seen it. Ed Woodward, as Alice has quite rightly said, she's not surprised that the Glazers' name were all over it. And a lot of people that, you know, before would have been saying, "Oh, United fans, you know, you've had X, Y, and Z, you're spoiled." They can't really say that about us now, because they've finally seen them for who they actually are, which is vermin, basically.
Yeah, can I add something?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, best case scenario.
From yours.
Best case scenario is that the backlash from this is like so big on the Glazers and Woodward, and the pressure on them to leave will be bigger than ever. Like, best case scenario is, you know, this could be a blessing in disguise. Could be this could be over the line so much. Could this be the kick to get rid of the Glazers and the Woodward? That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they'll try and do a Super League with 4 people in it. You know, I think we'll be the last to leave. I think we'll be last.
At least we're guaranteed a semi-final. We have a chance of finally winning one. So, you know, you love to see we got a few chances back to back. Right, okay, so we come to you. It's actually your mind that's echoing, not gorgeous. I don't know what's happening with everyone's minds today. It's not normal. But, Sam, we come to you, sir. I suggest we all mute it so you can talk. Yeah, what your thoughts? I'm muting myself. Right, what are your thoughts on the Glazers, Sam? Since the falls your brand, mute yourself.
Well, I think it's good for the wider football community, but also some Man United fans, because there are some Man United fans that still believe, you know, you do find that small section that'll be like, we've spent 80 million on Maguire, we've spent this amount of money, we spent this amount of money, and they actually think everything is okay. I think what we're seeing now is, and I love what Sean was talking about, in the sense of how it works in America, and that these are basically businesses. They're not, you know, sports as such. They're investors invest in these businesses to make money. And Arsene Wenger said it as well. I watched something on him, and he said that what's the primary objective of investors is to make money. And I think, but what you have to do when you're an owner of a football club, you have to try and find that balance. So you've got Roman Abramovich, who is an owner and an investor, but they clearly want to win football matches. Manchester United don't. And the problem is that this Super League, and I think Alice said it, this Super League guarantees us football in this Super League season after season after season. It doesn't matter where we finish in there, we're guaranteed money. And the money that we would be paid, I doubt would have been invested in the squad, would have been invested in the infrastructure and the stadiums and everything like that. So I think everybody is now seeing what the Glazers really are, especially now because you can see that they're at the top of this pyramid, it seems. They're at the top of the tree. They're the ones that are fully going for it. Other fans now are going to be looking at us and being like, rah, is this who you lot are actually run by? Because what are you lot? You lot have got no hope. Just like we know, we've said on here, Usmaan, before, you know, Spurs fans, Arsenal fans, we all complain about the same things, really, isn't it? Like, Chelsea fans don't complain about not getting money for players. City fans don't complain about that. But us Spurs and Arsenal, we're always complaining about the same things. Now I just think it's just opened up everybody's eyes to exactly what's going on. These people are here to make money. They're not here to make Manchester United the best team in England anymore, the best team in Europe. They're just here to make money. And unfortunately, you know, people are saying maybe this is a blessing in disguise, which I think is the question you asked me. Yeah, I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is, because, you know, they don't care, Usmaan. They don't care. The fans have been, you know, in uproar. People have been in uproar. Gary can talk about being in uproar all he wants on Sky. He should have been speaking out on Sky long before. Why does it take this to really talk about what's going on when he says that he's been a fan for 40 years and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? He should have been talking from a long time, but they don't care. They are like hard-nosed businessmen. They only care about pounds and pence. They don't care about the fans. They don't actually care about Manchester United. They don't care about the history. So I don't see how this benefits us, because they'll just still stick around. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon.
The
Can I say
reason
something about the Glazers when you get a second?
Yeah, I will do. The reason I think it will, it's a blessing in disguise, is because a lot of, like I said, a lot of the footballing world don't really know the truth about the Glazers and the truth about Woodward as well. A lot of people will start speaking out against this. You've seen Gary Neville the first time speak out against Carragher. To be fair to him, does always take a dig at the Glazers. Neville never done it, but people with voices are going to start to speak out, because you've got to bear in mind the reputation of these guys, and this goes for FSG, Kroenke. It's gonna be massively detrimental.
But can I say something as well though? Is, as I said, why hasn't Gary Neville spoken up before?
Because he's that's why.
Just looking at it, this whole Super League proposal is obviously not good for Sky. It's not good for BT Sports.
Yeah,
it's not good for all of these. It's not good for all of these media outlets. So that's now why they're speaking out a little bit more. For me, that's not good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Now where it's trying to directly affect them, they want to talk. But really and truly, you should have been talking this talk. You're on Sky every single week. You're meant to be a Manchester United fan. And I'm sure you know a lot of ins and outs that goes on at the club, even before, while you was playing under Sir Alex Ferguson. So you should have been talking up about this thing before. This ain't like what Sean said. This ain't nothing new, really. I've been speaking about Super League on my channel on All for United all back in November last year. This isn't new. So that annoys me in that sense, that these people want to be outraged, but I think that you're only outraged now because it's now looking like it's going to affect your pocket. And that's now where I'm thinking, I don't see where the positives come out of this. I can only see more negativity, if I'm honest, because we're going to have issues with players that are thinking, you know what, these lot, maybe they could be hoodwinked thinking, maybe these lot are trying to hear for us. And now, but they're thinking, whoa, these lot really ain't here to try and breed competition, breed a winning mentality, get us back to the top. So I don't know, man. I don't see any positive. I just think it's a dark time for Manchester United, considering our owners seem to be the ones that are really pushing this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go on, Sean. I'll let you.
Yeah, I want to share something about the Glazers, right? Because remember, it's Glazers, so there is a consortium of this family. And I got to be honest with you, probably the biggest man in world football that many of you probably have never heard of. If you have heard of him, I'll give you props. Is an American, Italian by birth, but he's an American. He was raised here. His name's Charlie Stilatano.
They're all American. I mean, Italians, Sean.
Charlie Stilatano is good friends with Sir Alex, with the Glazers, all of them. All these international Champions Cup stuff in the summer, he runs all of that. And he's on a huge program here in the States that I go on a good bit on Sirius XM. And we and him have argued about the Glazers numerous times, because there are some of them who actually care. So there's kind of like a little personal civil war going on. Don't get me wrong. They care about the money more than they care about anything.
I was about to say,
they care about the money more than anything. The biggest problem, believe it or not, is actually Ed, because these clowns, because they're indebted to him, like what Alice said, people forget they bought us off of $750 some odd million of leveraged debt, and Ed secured that leverage. Don't get me wrong. What kind of credit rating do you need to get a 750 million pound loan? Right. So the thing is, the problem is the Glazers are too dumb to realize what mega success on the pitch could do to their wallet, because they literally listen to how Ed wants to run and direct the club. Make no mistake about it. Ed Woodward runs Manchester United. I'm telling, I've heard the Glazers speak, right? I've heard them talk. I've heard them do interviews. And people are like, well, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, the Bucs are terrible. They've always been terrible. They're one of the worst franchises in the NFL. The Glazers, listen, Usmaan, you were spot on. It could be worse. We could have Stan Kroenke, because that guy is listen. If the Glazers are snakes, Stan Kroenke is like a demonically possessed serpent. Like, he's a whole nother level of just terrible. And so, yeah, we know that the Glazers and all that's our biggest issue. But I just, I love what Simps just said. Listen, these people now want to have a moral high ground. Think about this. Who's really threatened by the Super League? Two organizations, the TV people who don't have the rights and UEFA who are corrupt. So we're literally, like, in some ways, defending a corrupt organization.
It's a lesser two evils,
that will suspend somebody for fighting back for get racially abused. And that it's like Europe is the European side of it is a mess. My biggest concern with the whole Super League thing ultimately was what it would do to the domestic league, because I think that, that no matter what they say, it would affect the competition, because if there's more money in it, obviously United will put more of their efforts and energy into that competition than winning the Prem. And we don't.
I think to be honest, we don't even need to speak about the Super League now, actually, because it seems like it's not happening.
But this is going to come around again. This ain't over about money.
Apparently, Man United are pulling out as well, actually, because
Luke
Shaw's on fire.
All of these.
I'm not going to mention the other guys' name.
All of these people that we're praising that are players. No disrespect, I don't believe one of them, because at the end of the day, if you're offering them the type of contracts they would get in that, they can be all moral high ground now, but they wouldn't be complaining when they're getting 4 times what they're on.
Can I ask a question then for the panel? Because what I'm struggling to understand, obviously we need to wait for information, but you propose this European Super League, you then start to come out of certain UEFA bodies, the ESA or whatever it was called, and then a day later you all start pulling out. I'm sure you would have thought about this properly.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm really confused.
So I genuinely think we know how it is. Big clubs always get their way, and I think when Man City won that case about knocking them out of the Champions League, that changed the whole dynamic for how all these other clubs look at them, because Man City had just become they're not even a powerhouse, but they're slowly growing, but they got the finances. And when they brought that lawyer team and dashed UEFA out and said, your competition, you're trying to kick us out of your competition, we will run you, we'll destroy you and get back in your competition, no problem. That changed the whole dynamic, because then everyone's gonna look at them and be like, hold on, you're the governing body, but this team, yes, they have the money, but they're not Real Madrid, they're not Barcelona, they're not Man United, they're not Liverpool in terms of size, and they've just bodied you. So who the hell are you to come and tell us what to do? So I think that whole thing just changed. But look what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen next. So we've already heard about the Champions League reform, right? They're going to change the system for 2024. Yeah. Everything's going to change. Bigger groups, more games, more revenue. More revenue, they're going to start talking about how much money they can put into that. Guarantee you that money is going to be very similar to the money they're talking about for the European Super League. And who's going to make most of that money? The bigger boys. Yeah. They're going to win one way or another, because all of this was a way. Real Madrid's finances have gone into the bin. Florentino Perez is talking about this is better for football. No, it's better for him and his club, so they can get their money up.
Yeah.
Look, we heard about Barcelona. They spent stupid money on Coutinho, Griezmann. They're struggling to pay Lionel Messi, and now they're going to get their money. They're going to get their money. If this thing's stopping, but the reform happens, they're going to get their money up. There will be no problem. This is literally helping all of them. The only 2 teams that this doesn't help right now are Arsenal and Tottenham, because they're not in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get their money.
Well,
that's two. A new show called Mid-Table Matters. Y'all should tune in.
But that's two out of the founding 12.
Now Liverpool as well, coach. Why are you giving them bloody credit? They're 6.
I even forgot about them as well. So we
gotta take every dig at Liverpool.
Exactly. So this is what it is. So they're still gonna get their money one way or another. This is gonna cause UEFA to say, okay, this was a big threat to our authority, so we need to do something that puts everything back into our table. And don't get me wrong, though, we need to get on their cases as well, because they've been cooked for far too long.
That's what the next topic is, basically.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I do want to get to Europe as well, but I kind of want to just quickly pull it back to what Sam said regarding Man United's reputation. I'll come to you then, Alice, next. So Sam's kind of made a really good point in terms of this is kind of going to, I was saying that, it's a blessing, but Sam's kind of came from the perspective that it's going to leave a dark cloud over United. as a club, because of the reputation is quite clearly going to get hindered because of what we've done, our role within this Super League. And let's be quite frank, you got Liverpool getting that much abuse from Leeds United fans on the way. Man United are going to get a stupid amount of abuse because if one, we're hated more than Liverpool, and two, of what we've done. So we get abused as it is on the normal because we're not liked. But and we've got Leeds on the weekend as well. So on top of that, we've added this to our Arsenal. Do you think this could hinder the club massively, because potentially a lot of our players might not want to be affiliated with the club anymore? Because I think, as Semps rightly said, you know, they had one perception of the board. Oh yeah, they have the best intention of the club at heart, but it's quite evident that is not the case with the Super League. They just want the money. So, like, what are your thoughts on that, Yusuf?
Yeah, 100%, exactly what Semp said. I mean, going back to what Sean said and Alice as well about the Glazers, these people don't have a conscience. They don't care about anybody else. And to be fair, if you run a business, you're going to exploit people. Unfortunately, that's life. I don't like that, but that's just how it is. People, you look at Jeff Bezos, how he treated Amazon workers during the pandemic. He got richer and richer and richer at the expense of, you know, hardworking people that went to work every single day. Do you know what I mean? And this is how they operate. This is, if you want to be a billionaire, unfortunately, you're going to cut out people along the way, aren't you? And you're not going to be an honest person doing that. That's why, I mean, I don't want to go off topic, but it's the same in music as well. You look at like people like P. Diddy and Jay-Z. They are where they are and there's many stories of people who've become so rich, and unfortunately, the smaller person has to suffer. And there's a quote that I always remember in football, and you can apply this to anywhere in life, but it says, as long as greed is stronger than compassion, there will always be suffering. And this is what these people do. And unfortunately, as you were talking about reputation, we're probably the most hated club before the Super League began. Definitely in the UK, in England.
Definitely, yeah, without doubt, I'd say.
And now, with the Glazer family attached to us, and obviously Woodward, I just hope that Ed Woodward now would just resign. I'm praying that it will just happen.
Yo, don't get me happy like that. Don't give us false hope.
I would just love it if I just woke up tomorrow and it was like Ed Woodward has gone, like, and that would be brilliant. But yeah, I mean, that's a dream. But
Ed Woodward
resigns. If Ed Woodward resigns, I'll shave my beard off. If he resigns tomorrow, I'll clean shave. I'll tell you.
I'll be up on here with my vinyl leopard thong, man.
Right, okay, Alice, let's bring you on now.
Oh, God.
So, obviously, to be fair, Yusuf, I think you've hit the nail on the head in terms of what you said regarding, you know, the little man is always going to suffer. In this case, the little man is also, i.e. the fans, you know, we're basically a customer as it is. But Alice, what are your thoughts on what the lads have said regarding the reputation of the club? You know, and then we'll move on to UEFA as well if you want to delve into the scum that is UEFA, basically the lesser of two evils as it stands.
I think this has not done our club any good reputation. I couldn't say that word for a second. The thing about Woodward and the Glazers is they love putting a PR spin on everything to make us look good, because they all care about the shares going up, all of that. You know, whenever we lose, we're linked to a big player. You know, United all about PL and the look, but they're not going to be able to escape this one. You know, I think we were the only club that didn't tweet we joined the ESL. Like on Twitter, everyone else tweeted they joined it the other night. I'm pretty sure we didn't tweet it.
No, we were too busy tweeting about Greenwood's goal. That's what we did. I don't know if you saw that tweet though.
Because our club cares so much about their image and hiding who they are and all of that. The amount of PR spins, you know, we'll get Cavani and give him the number 7 shirt because that'll make up for failing to get Sancho if we sign Cavani. That's what they think. And this literally tarnishes Woodward, the Glazers. It exposes them to who they really are, but to the whole world. Because only the Man United, before today, it was only the Man United fans really being passionate about Glazers out. Man City fans were like, Glazers ruining their club. Now everyone wants the Glazers gone, especially because Joel Glazer is right behind this. Everyone's just seeing the Glazers for who they really are. The fact that we haven't left yet, I don't know if we're going to leave, but the fact that we'll probably
apparently we are leaving. It's just Tottenham left, and they still can't win the competition. It's a madness, the only team in it, but, you know.
Yeah, but I just hope that the backlash from this on the Glazers and the Woodward and the pressure just forces one of them to resign, because Woodward and the Glazers are the biggest problem at this club. They've been the biggest problem for a while, and they are the biggest problem. And Ed Woodward's effed up his relationship with UEFA. He can't go back on that. He could have effed us over. Are we going to be allowed in the Champions League?
Imagine, oh my God, I forgot about that. How are they going to be like, yeah, can we come back to the Champions League now? Like, how is that conversation going to go down?
The thing is, my hope is, because we're Man United, we're like, this is probably the second biggest team after Real Madrid in terms of views. Like, I feel like UEFA will just see the money that we offer and all of that, but we've fucked up our relationship with UEFA. We might finish second and they could just stick their fingers up us because of Woodward being a snake.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. As long as they mention Woodward's name in that as well, I know I'd probably take it, like just for him, because I proper don't like the guy. Like I kind of do hate him. I'm not gonna lie. I never use that word to describe someone, but he's kind of teacher on that word. But before we do go on UEFA, I keep thinking, but I don't want to miss this point out. And again, Sam's mentioned it as well. And I'm sure everyone here would probably agree with what I'm going to say here. But I want to talk about Patrick Bamford because you know everyone saw the quotes. And look, we haven't got a long show, and I wouldn't be doing it just if I missed this out. I don't care about UEFA. I need to talk about this first and foremost. The guy hit the nail on the head. We've all been saying it for a long time, and for me personally, Ryan, it has exposed so many people. Not what he just said, but the whole situation. Gary Neville, Carragher, and I want you to think about Gary Neville's face and the amount of passion, anger, and hatred he had towards the Glazers. Because as Sam's rightly said, and I was gonna say it, but I'm happy Sam said it, he's only this pissed because it affects Sky. Their pockets. He works for Sky. Obviously, he's not gonna, get his sort of, broadcast deals, whatever you want to call it. He's not going to get his money. He's not going to get his bread. Man was like thinking it's Avengers calling on bloody BT and BBC and bringing everyone together like it's for the greater good. You all want your money, boys. We're not things. We know how things work. But the point I'm making is, look at the outrage from all of these guys. But when man was getting racial abuse a couple of weeks ago, and they gave a ban, right? So. Okay, there's one thing being mad about the racing thing. I can't really say someone's intention because it is what it is, isn't it? However, when he got a 3-match ban, Kamara, for being racially abused, where was the energy for that absolutely disgraceful decision from UEFA? It hardly got mentioned. That man has got serving a 3. It's like someone swearing at your mum and you'd be like, punching him or something, or someone stabs you and you punch him and you get served some jail time for it. It's like, bro, I'm defending myself. He stabbed me. Like, how does that make sense? Like, and no one mentioned it, and it didn't get mentioned on Sky. There wasn't any special shows on Sky. Like there was yesterday at 7:00. It was free on YouTube to talk about racism. No, but to talk about this, it was completely free to tune in for the first time in Sky's history. And Bamford said it perfectly. When it comes to affecting your pockets, these mans are out here. When it comes to other matters that don't affect them directly, they pretend that they care. So, Kojo, I'm going to allow you to do the honors to take the mantle there, or take the baton, so to speak. What are your thoughts on Bamford's points, and where does this leave everybody else?
Oh, he's spot on. I mean, it's as simple as that. He's spot on. It's funny. I mean, if we address from the Sky side first, you talk about Gary Neville, who, when he was speaking about Raheem Sterling getting racially abused, and he came up with that whole, I wish I had spoken up at that time for him. When no, nonsense. Should have spoken up straight away. You said you sat back, wait for more to happen, wait for Raheem Sterling to speak up for himself on so many levels, and then you started to jump on the bandwagon and all that nonsense. As for UEFA, the FA, FIFA, all of them, they're all joke men. Nicholas Bentner has been fined more for having a celebration and his boxers having Paddy Power than people that have been racially abusing players. So, what's his name? John Terry's ban was a joke. Luis Suarez's ban was...
I know Suarez. What was John Terry's? I don't remember it.
John Terry got like a 6-match ban. He got like a 6-match ban. It was nothing. Like, this is the kind of thing. So, as sad as it's to say, again, we're never surprised because this same old. This is what happens all the time. And UEFA have no one in there that understands racism whatsoever. When something happens to them, personally, they'll take it on board. But when it's someone else that's been racially abused,
it doesn't affect him. That's what.
So what they say they banned Kamara for is his reaction. Oh yeah, you got racially abused, so you should stand there, go to the referee, and then walk jog away. Are you sick? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then you talk about other leagues as well. At Valencia, when one of the players got racially abused,
They walked off, didn't they?
They walked off, and then they were told that if they don't come back on, the referee told them if you don't come back on, you will be sanctioned. Imagine that you're playing against racially abused, but hey, if you don't come back on and play the game, you'll be in trouble. And what's happened to that player since? The one that racially abused him, Kala? Nothing. So this is the point.
Yeah, go on, Sam.
No, what I was gonna say is that we shouldn't be shocked. I know you're not shocked anyway, Usmaan, but the problem with racism is that it's going to affect people like us because we directly suffer this on a day-to-day basis. But people like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, for example, I don't know them, so I'm just using them as an example. It doesn't affect them day to day. It never has affected them day to day. So they're not going to have the same energy for this situation. And the problem that we don't, and the other issue why we don't ever see anything changing, and I keep saying this, is because we don't have people like you and me in high positions.
Yeah.
We don't have people in these organizations, in these institutions, and therefore things will never change because where UEFA's run by X, Y, and Z, this corporation's run by X, Y, and Z, this person's run by if unless we have people like us at the top calling the shots, nothing's going to change because they can't understand what we go through, and so they're not going to have that same energy, and that's why things will never change. Now, it's being spoken about more and more as time goes on. It's more publicized, but then it gets to a point where a lot of people, I believe, it's like, oh, if we don't side with this, if we don't get on this side of the fence with the kneeling and all of this stuff, we're going to look bad. So we're going to jump on this.
Yeah,
but they don't really.
They have to, man. They haven't got a choice.
Exactly.
That's kind of why I don't like the kneeling. Apart from when Lacazette did it against that scum team, I think it's lost its power. That Lacazette moment was iconic for me. That's up there. Like, obviously, because he was the only one on his ones, But I think it's lost its power because for the exact reason what you just said there. A lot of people are being forced to do. I don't want to bring religion into it, but when people are like obviously I'm Muslim, so I'll speak on behalf of Muslims. But when someone's like preaching to you constantly, and you're not, let's just say you're not the most pious person, and if someone's constantly, trying to, ram it down your throat, like faith or whatnot, and obviously with faith you have to find in your own time, so to speak. But it kind of deters you, like you kind of like, oh god, like I have to do it because X, Y, and Z's doing it. Your intentions aren't pure. Do you know what I mean? Like I can go downstairs and pray right now, right? And my mum, for example, has told me you need to pray, you're not praying. My intentions won't be pure unless I do off my own back, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think that's the case with this. Unless I think, I don't know who said it, but I think someone said like ethnic minorities shouldn't be fighting racism. It should be the people. It's not the oppressor. It's not the one being oppressed. It's the one who's the oppressor that should be fighting racism because they're the ones who have caused it. And I strongly believe that because unless they genuinely have the passion to make a change, like they're done with the money thing, i.e. the Super League, the change won't happen because it doesn't affect them. Like you said, the way it affects us.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Let me say something to that. I try to avoid this conversation a little bit. One, because I am of a mixed race heritage. And so I've always been too light for some, too dark for others.
He's half Pakistani, he's half Chinese.
Actually, I'll just send you a breakdown of the DNA. But let's say my last name, if I told you, it would let you know that my granddad's come from Africa. So let me just say it this way. Freedom is never willfully granted by the oppressor. It has to be demanded by them that are oppressed. The problem is, unfortunately, I'd love to talk about this in depth. Just real talk. This is what I've given my life to in real life, actually. The organization I oversee is the first ever completely integrated one of its kind in the history of my region. And so I've been in this fight long before it was cool and popular. And, now that with Black Lives Matter and all that stuff last year, you know how it goes. It's trendy now to be woke and to be down and all this kind of stuff. But
when you use English terms, it cracks me up.
Here's the thing. When it comes to to racism, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of battles.
Whoa.
I don't believe that. I saw it. No. I saw it, and I didn't even read it. There's no way.
No way. That can't
There's
be
no
true.
way.
Can someone check that, please? I'm not shaving my beard.
I'm on it right now. Oh my
joking,
god.
People don't even know what we're talking about.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not shaving my beard.
Talk sport.
I'm not shaving my beard.
I
I'm
gotta go get
joking.
Vinyl Leopard thongs now. Come on.
Can you trust talks?
There's no way.
No way.
I hope it's true. I saw it and I was sitting in my seat like, be true.
I need to wait for
Right,
Romano.
Alice, don't say that.
We're gonna have an intermission, right? He's gone. I seen the show.
No way. No way.
Oh my god, no way,
No way.
Oh my god, he's gone. He's actually gone.
Woodward's gone. He's gone.
What does this mean now? I don't know what does this mean now for us?
Beard's not going back.
Well, it means the
beard is not going to tomorrow.
Woodward's decision
right now. I'm calling Charlie Stilitano tomorrow morning, and I'm telling you, you call Joe Glazer.
What is going on? We were genuinely saying that Woodward. Alice, I'm gonna come back to you because you said it first. Alice. I'm actually shocked.
I called it. I was thinking in my head.
You were literally saying it, Alice.
No in my head.
Everyone's saying it. Everyone's in the chat not saying it. Alice, we're gonna come to you because you said it first. Yo, whoever wants the vacancy, send your CV in. Alice,
oh my god,
I'm actually a company. I said it's a blessing in disguise, Sebs. Sebs, I told you, it's a blessing in disguise. Let's go.
Mad thing.
Oh
I didn't see that coming, man. I didn't see that coming. I'll be real.
I don't even know what to say. Like, Alice was gonna pass it to you.
I'm literally I'm doing a stream after this tonight, and I was titling my stream, and I was going to be like Woodward to leave because we knew the Super League was going, and I was thinking in my head, this could be Woodward to go. I checked Twitter, 10-15 minutes later, I see a tweet that Woodward's gone. I put it obviously in this private chat. I come back to Twitter, and everyone's saying Woodward's gone, and I'm like, I just thought if Woodward was going to leave, this would tip it over the edge. But I don't know what to say. I can't believe we sort of called that in a way.
You did say
you did.
I'm gonna take the blessing disguise comment and not the beard comment. We'll ignore that. But I don't even know what to say, man. What are your thoughts? Woodward, the vermin.
Wow.
Oh my god! If this means Glazers, imagine Glazers are good. Oh my god, Lord, please. Right, Yusuf's thoughts, bro. Your initial reaction to that news, that is outstanding.
No, I mean it's a great day. I mean that's all I can say. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, the 20th of April, 2021, and Ed Woodward is gone.
Oh my god!
Ed Woodward is gone. What do you not realize what this is? I can't believe this. I can't believe this. No.
Bro, this is absolutely insane news.
We
were just saying it. Who was saying that Ed Woodward runs the club? Who was that? Which one of us? I can't remember who said that.
I think it was Sean that said it earlier on.
Wasn't it? Sean, man.
Yeah.
The main man. You said it. Ed Woodward runs the club and he's resigned. He's not being... Yes!
It's a celebration in this year, brother.
I rarely has something ever happened to make me shut up, especially about racism. But Ed Woodward resigning.
Yeah, I know. I fully interrupted him. It's an important topic as well. Like, fully, man was going in. He was dropping.
Let me just say one thing about that, and then we'll get back to Ed. The only way we'll ever change it, the problem with racism is that we've allowed it to become political when it shouldn't be a political issue. This is a human issue, right? And the thing is, the only way to fix this situation is not through politics. The only way is through economics. The real issue with racism is not skin anymore. It is haves and have-nots. And what happens is in most of our societies, it disproportionately affects those that are more brown than those that are lighter. And the fact is, until we can change the economic system and change our minds to where money is coming more into our communities, we'll never really shift this. They'll never change it in Washington. They'll never change it in Parliament. They just won't. So it just comes down to that. But anyway, Ed is gone.
Everyone,
if Alice wasn't here, I'd be naked right now. I ain't lying, y'all.
Everyone drop a like on the blood clot video. Everyone's channel here.
Woodward.
Listen,
everyone's content.
I love
is gonna
watching
be
Alice's
lit.
content.
Everyone's content
I've got 100 people.
It's gonna be lit.
I love her like, all the way now.
Because everyone's gonna.
I cannot believe she broke that on you.
Subscribe to everyone. Get the echo in here. But listen, Sean, get your thoughts on the Woodward thing, man. That is,
my God.
What is going on? That is.
Honestly, I need it to be.
Just leave it on the screen.
I need it to be 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. Tune into Sirius XM FC. You will hear your boy on there. Me and Charlie are going to be boxing. Like, what happened to your boy, son? He's gone. We're getting our club back. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be throwing heat tomorrow. I'm getting blocked tomorrow. I can't believe it. Here's the thing, Ed Woodward. Everyone knows how big of a figure he is. Well, hold on. Let me say it this way. He's kind of smaller, but he's got that kind of syndrome, you know, walking around like he's here's another English word for y'all that I've learned. I love this one. Billy Big Bollocks, right? That's Ed. He's walking around like he's that guy, and he knows nothing about football. He's a banker. And if we could replace him with someone like Edwin or someone that knows football, I'll tell you right now, with prominent people, we can do something even with the scumbag Glazers. But as I put in the group chat right now, get the Saudis on the line. Who has the Prince's phone number? Whoever has it, call him and tell City,
someone holler at the Prince and come on, yo, 21 and 21, let's get it! Respect back, baby!
Could you imagine Man United with the type of support that City, Chelsea, or PSG have? Could you imagine?
If Man City lose the next game, I think it's against Aston Villa. I swear to God, I'm screaming 21.
Captain Jack, let's go short socks.
I think you might
listen. If it's true, yeah, that these men went to his room and said, "Listen, we're coming to bang you up right now," yeah, I would. No matter if it's a 0 out of 10 performance or 10. I'm not touching any of them out again. Maguire for now is never my captain. Maguire is my captain. Period. Yeah,
right now.
I am coming to your church. You will pray for me, big man. Listen, where's my phone? He's gone down there.
That Maguire story's got to be true. It's got to be. That Maguire. Apparently Luke Shaw was with him, but obviously we've seen. I was going to touch on Luke Shaw because he did put a post on social media, and he kind of put in the post that I don't want to be disrespectful to my. I think he said something like, what did he say? He kind of said boxing it, but in a professional manner. But yeah, like it was crazy. Like if that Maguire story is true, as Kojo has said, that man has earned every penny of that 18 million signing. That is the signing of the decade. Well done, Ali Kunisova. You've had an absolute blinder with you. Absolute blinder. But listen, we're going to wrap it there. I'm just going to get everyone's last thoughts because I know everyone's got their own content and everyone's got to jump on.
I'm about to go live now and I'm on sabbatical.
Shams, we're going to come to you to have the final say, bro, because you haven't had a chance to say much. Bro, just the floor's yours. Say what you got to say.
No, there's nothing else to say, man. Ed Woodward is gone. Come on.
Let's go. We get United back. You love to see it. Listen, I was going to do another show on Thursday, but the show is going to be like just a celebration of Ed Woodward's sponsorships and him leaving, basically. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Before we sign off, like I said, everyone's content is going to be lit for the next few days. So make sure you show them love. First and foremost, Yusuf, bro, where can the people find you? Let the people know.
You know what? I'm on Twitter, but I'm not really active like everybody else. I feel like it would be pointless telling people.
No. Go follow him on Twitter. His handle will be down below. Show him love. He's going to be regular on you as well, so you'll hear his thoughts on you as well. So you'll love to see it. Kojo, tell the people, man. Just
I'm here, Usmaan Talks United, Free Midfield Podcast, YouTube, Free Midfield Twitter, Spotify. Listen, I don't care about that right now, yeah? It's time to play the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm too gassed.
Fabrizio Romano's tweeted it as well. Right.
Yeah. Woodward, the hell out.
Oh my God. I can't.
Listen, anyone watching, if you like Supermodel, yeah? I've got like 16 crates here, bro. Come to my yard. You are more than welcome to come and come true. Come through. I'll drop you my address. Come through.
I need to find the timestamp of when we've said that Edward was typed on the stand. I just need to clip that and put it on. That's the only thing I'm clipping from you. Sam, where can the people find you, brother?
At L Semps on Twitter, at Views TV Official on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. There.
Yes. Alice, tell the people where they can find your stream straight after this.
Alice Talks Football on YouTube. Search it up. Check out the TikTok. Check out the Twitter. Alice Talks Football. Type it in. Let's go.
That title's gonna be changed. That's all I know.
I've changed my title already.
Change the title.
I've literally just changed it.
Oh my God, I'm tuning in for that. I can't wait. Sean, tell the people where they can find you, bro.
What? Juve CEOs resigned. It's gone crazy.
Yesterday they were in a group chat, and one of the other owners started yelling,
Wait.
Judas.
This guy's just tweeted called Mike Keegan. The collapse of MUFC/European Super League may well see the Glazers sell the club. Like, I haven't said they're going to sell, but it could be the start. It could be the start.
Oh my God, I might have to come back after my fast is open. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to come back. I might have to go and eat and come back at night and go to let everyone know.
Oh, this is true.
You know what? People, do you not realize how crazy these last few days have been for football? It has been an absolute madness. These last 48 hours.
If the Glazers sell, oh my God!
I'm going live. I'm on
bro,
I'm going
if
live.
the Glazers sell, I don't want to be one of those channels where you clip. Obviously, there's not getting enough views, so no one's going to clip it. But when they clip, they say something outlandish. Like with Man United are back. But honest to God, this would mean Manchester United are back. If the Glazers go on top of Woodward and we get any human being born, not even someone who has outstanding ability, just someone that has an intention, the best intention of the club, then we're going to go back to where we belong, which is at the flipping top. Sean, seal them with another deal. Where can the people find you, bro?
You can find me on the madness that is football Twitter at Worldwide Red Show. Well, Worldwide Reds _show. Right there. That's actually me. I'm not hiding behind my logo. Or on the YouTube at Worldwide Red Show. Come holler at me.
Oh my God. Listen, I'm just going to finish this with the last thing. And I said it during the show. It was a blessing in disguise. We love you. The Super League. You've done it.
I hold my hands up. It was.
Performance.
It was.
You have gone down as the night of football history. We might be back at 9. I don't know. If the Glazers go as well, you best believe I'll be clean shaven and back at 9. But listen, we'll be back tomorrow on the list. Check out everyone else's channels. Drop a like, subscribe to your boy.